Hi, thank you once again for joining me on our discussion on rediscovering who you are, or even an alternative title could be Succeeding at Being You. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for the subscribers who've decided to subscribe to this post. I appreciate that. Also, if this is the first time that you're watching, please go ahead and subscribe so that you're made aware of each new video as it comes up. So I appreciate that. Again, we're talking about rediscovering you, who you are, the you were from the beginning. And it is my pleasure to come to you to talk about that. The first two times that I've come to you, the part one was on identifying that irrelevant self that has decided to not be so important, the self who doesn't hide behind his or her roles or her accomplishments, but really is willing to be put out front by God just for who they are. Secondly, we talked about humility and how that is the true road to finding who you are, that you have to die to yourself to become who you are. I really hope I didn't make that sound easy the first couple of sessions or the first couple of takes that we have been talking about this topic, because rediscovering who you are is not easy work. It is downright hard, and I can tell you from experience. I'm actually in the midst of doing that myself. I'm rediscovering who I am. God has been teaching me across the year about how to let go of the things that I thought were important, the roles that I thought made me who I was, to come down to just my authentic, real self that can be used by Him. I'm reading this book. It's called Sun Stand Still. I have no idea if you can see that at all. Sun Stand Still, and it's by Pastor Kevin Furtick, I believe is how you pronounce his name. First of all, let me tell you, if you don't know anything about me, I'm always reading something. I have been reading something all my life. I was one of those kids who read in the dark, and that's why I wear glasses now. My mom would say, okay, turn off the lights, go to bed. And I would literally have the book by the window trying to find some light so I could read. So that's me. So I'm always reading. So I'm always going to be bringing some new material to you. But I've been reading this book, and he talks about how when God is ready to move you and He's ready to use you the way He needs to, that He can't take you into your promised land the way you are. And I have learned that again across the year, that God will not take me into the promises that He has for me being the old self that I had learned to be. Um, when I was growing up, or at least as a child, and all of you, I know everyone does this. This is what children do. You figure out the things to do to bring love into your life. That's one of the biggest human desires, is to be loved and also to be esteemed by other people. So you find out what makes people love you. And one of the things that I had discovered early on is that if I accomplished some things, I did some things, people would like me. So I was always a people pleaser, always reaching for the next goal, always all of that stuff. Thus, me having a doctorate degree, a lot of times, God blessed me to do that, but that certainly was one of the things I thought would bring me a lot of glory and a lot of love, is to have this degree, because, part of what society says is success if you have education. So anyway, so a lot of things I did in life were or a lot of things that I accomplished in life were a byproduct of me trying to get love. You have also done some things, or got into some relationships or anything, because you thought that was going to bring you the love that you needed. But really, deep down, what we really need all comes from God. We don't need anything from any other source. We only need that love that God can provide us, because in that love, we're going to sail and we're going to fly and be able to do all the things that He has created us to do. John Maxwell, in his Leadership Bible, says that Solomon, who was the wisest man to ever walk this earth, attempted to solve an inward problem with an outward solution. So he attempted to, and if you read in Ecclesiastes, he attempted to bring himself joy and happiness by achieving a lot of different things. And if you read the Ecclesiastes, at least the first couple of chapters, he talks about how fruitless that was to get all of these accomplishments. He married a lot of women, and he did all sorts of things. He built things, and was the richest man to live, but he knew that all of it was fruitless because he was doing it for the wrong reason. You have to ask yourself, what inward problem am I trying to solve with the outward solution? And you have to answer that for yourself. So anyway, in Sun Stand Still, he talks about how we're not going to get to our promised land and not going to be able to do the things that God has ordained us to do by not being our authentic selves. And that's what we're talking about, how to be the real you. And one of the things he said, I'm going to quote from him, is that crossing over into God's promises is always accompanied by a cutting away process. Hallelujah, amen. I know what he's talking about. And once you've crossed over the Jordan by embracing your page 23 vision, there are some intense internal challenges waiting for you on the other side. Let me read that again because I messed it up. And once you've crossed over the Jordan by embracing your page 23 vision, there are some intense internal challenges waiting for you on the other side. In other words, there are some things that God is going to cut away from you. There are some things that he's going to require for you to release so that you are able to walk into the vision and the promises that he has for your life. And that's really essentially what's been going on with me all year. God has just required me to let go of some things. And see, the way I am, I have learned that I can't have anything without God. I've humbled myself enough to know that if God requires me to do it, I'm going to do it. God knows that about me. I'm going to do whatever he tells me to do. But the things that he has required me to do this year have been quite a challenge. He's told me, I told you in a past video, I had to come home this year. I had to release all the things that I thought made me important. I was in private practice. I thought that made me important. He told me to release it. I thought being in leadership positions at my church and being over ministries at my church made me important, and he told me to release it. All the things I thought made me who I was and the things that I thought brought me love and made me esteemed before people, God asked me to release. Then even this year, one of the things that I'm known for is being a psychologist, and that's really the foundation. Next to Christianity, of course, is one of the foundations in which I have learned to understand people and help people meet their challenges. But even this year, God is challenging me. Is that really who you are? No, it's not. That's not who you are. You are who I've called you to be, and that is not the hat that you wear. So even now, I'm being challenged to release my license as a psychologist. And even when I tell other psychologists, I'm not going to be licensed anymore, I'm going to let my license lapse, they almost look at me with their mouths open like, what? Why would you ever do that? Why don't you stay licensed as a psychologist? I don't get it. But you know what? The stuff God tells us to do doesn't even halfway make sense. Not even halfway. It doesn't make any sense to us a lot of times. But you know what? If he's telling me to do it, I'm going to do it. Because I want to get to the place that he has for me. I want that destined place, that place of promise where I'm going to be able to do everything he has called me to do. I want to get to the end of my life, like Jesus says in John 17:4, that I have pleased God because I have fulfilled the assignment that he has given to me. That's where I want to be at the end of my life, that I have fulfilled the assignment that he has given me to do. So in that, I'm releasing everything that I know is not like him. And in the midst of all of that, he's cutting away, he's circumcising my heart so that I'm ready to do all that he's called me to do. And part of that circumcision, or a part of him changing my heart even now, is allowing me to go back to who I was from the beginning. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, this process is no joke. But if you do it, you're going to be able to find out who you really are. So what I want you to do is to take the time, again, to go before God and to ask him, first of all, just to help you to know, or help you to have the willingness to start to push away from those things that are not who you really are. So you might have to go to God and say, God, I'm willing to release the things that I think have made me who I am for a very long time. I'm willing to release those things so that I could be all that you have called me to be. So if it's your job, I'm willing to let go of my job. I'm willing to let go of my control that I have over my family, either as a mom or as a dad or whatever that is. I think that makes me who I am, but it's not. This is your family. It's not my family. Or I'm willing to let go of certain ministry positions, or I'm willing, whatever it is, whatever you think defines you, ask God what you should release and what you should surrender to him so that he can make you fully who you are. One of the things that you might want to do too is to fast and to pray. And I have a blog. It's called The Surrender Fast. If you just Google that, it'll come up, and you'll be able to do that fast too. So again, get back to who you really are in God so that you can succeed at being you. Thank you for listening.